Everybody, welcome to Football Night New York Living Room Edition. It's our last time talking before the season gets going. I'm Jonas Schwartz, happy to be alongside Jeane Coakley and Ralph Vacchiano. And immediately, we're all eagerly anticipating Week 1. It's finally here. Jets and Bills on Sunday, Giants and Steelers Monday night. And right off the bat, Jeane, you've been following training camp all the way through. What's the biggest storyline for the Jets going into the season?
Well, Jonas, I think you're going to agree with this one. 2 words, Sam Darnold, the play of this quarterback. This is his 3rd year going into the season, 2nd year under Adam Gase. He's saying all the right things. He seems more confident. If you talk to players around him, they're saying, hey, listen, Sam now has kind of this chip on his shoulder. He feels like he can really have a command of this offense. He's quicker, he's faster. And, his players, his teammates voted him captain. So I think the play of Sam Darnold is the big factor when it comes to this Jets team, because he's the guy who's supposed to be the franchise, and he's shown hopes of it, glimmer of it, and that's what's going to be important to this Jets team, the play of Sam Darnold this season.
Ralph, how about the Giants? Obviously, whenever you have a new coach, that would factor into storylines.
Yeah, no question. And we'll be certainly watching Joe Judge. We'll be watching Daniel Jones as well. But I'm going to go with a broad storyline for the Giants, and that's their young players. Because when you look at what's been going on with them for the last 3 years, Dave Gettleman has been loading up on talent that he believes in and thinks has a lot of potential. Well, this is arrival time. This is the time where they need to start showing something. It's, is Daniel Jones going to take that big leap in his 2nd year? Is Andrew Thomas, the left tackle they drafted, good enough to protect him? Darius Slayton, the young receiver, can he take a step forward? And then look at the defense. It's an array of young players. Even Leonard Williams is kind of an old man for that defense. You look at guys like Jabril Peppers, Julian Love now has to start at safety. So many young linebackers and defensive linemen. Do they have the potential to be what Dave Gettleman thought? If they do, this could be a surprisingly good season. If not, you're looking at heading straight for a rebuilding again next year.
It's really sort of hard to judge what a successful season would be like for either of these teams right now, as they're both in the same spot that you were just alluding to, Ralph, in terms of where they are, in terms of their building process. But Jeane, however you would evaluate it, what is the biggest key to a successful season for the Jets?
Well, I just talked about Sam Darnold. How about the guys up front? The chemistry of this O-line, they have to come together. I mean, you got 4 new starters on this O-line, and they're the guy protecting their franchise quarterback. Everything runs through, as a former colleague used to say of ours, the big fatties up front. I mean, Alex Lewis is the only guy that's still the holdout, from last year. So I think the chemistry of the O-line, it all works from that back. And I think that's going to be the key for their success. And like I said, it's going to go through them.
Ralph, what's the key for success for the Giants?
Well, I think it rests on the defensive side of the ball and somehow them not being the complete disaster that they've been for the last couple of years. I believe in this offense. I believe in Daniel Jones. I think he has enough weapons around him, especially if Evan Ingram is healthy. I think that offensive line is probably the best one they've had in the last 3 or 4 years. So they should be able to score some points. But, it's no good if you score 42 and you're giving up 45. This defense has holes in the secondary thanks to the arrest of DeAndre Baker, the opting out of Sam Beal, the injury to safety Xavier McKinney. It has had no pass rush for several years. Can Patrick Graham, their new defensive coordinator, put this mess together the way Greg Williams did with the Jets last year and turn it into something good? If he does, you're looking at a team with a bigger upside than I think a lot of people think.
Jeane, give me an X factor for the Jets. Who would be the biggest X factor to the Jets having a successful season?
All right, I'm going over to the defensive side of the ball, and I'm going to say Marcus May. I mean, you lost Jamal Adams to the trade to Seattle. C.J. Mosley isn't playing this season. Greg Williams is a brilliant defensive coordinator. We saw that last season. But the play of Marcus May has to be big. He proved this at training camp that he's up for the task. He's flying around all over the place. Last season, he was great when they needed him. But he's got to take that next step. He's got to be that Pro Bowl guy that, dominates this defense. So I think he can do it. Like I said, when Brian Poole and Jamal Adams were out last season, Marcus May proved he can play box safety, and that's exactly what they're going to need on that defense.
How about an X factor for the Giants, Ralph?
Well, there are so many guys who could potentially fill that role, but continuing with my theme that there are enough weapons on offense to sustain them, I'm going to look to the defensive side as well and look at linebacker Lorenzo Carter, because if you as a team can generate a pass rush, it changes everything. It's really important for the Giants because of their secondary issues, but you can disrupt the passer, you give yourself a better chance to win games in the fourth quarter. And there's a belief in the Giants organization that Carter, a third-year pro, is on the verge of a breakout. He had a great summer, albeit just in practices and scrimmages. They think he has the potential to be that game record, to be a double-digit sack guy. And they're going to spend a lot of time trying to figure out who their one big stud pass rusher is. They think it could be him, and if it is, again, it's going to be a better defense than a lot of people think.
All right, it's time now for What Are the Odds? And we're talking about the lines for week one. The Jets getting 6.5 points from the Bills up in Buffalo. The Giants, 6-point home dogs against the Steelers. Ralph, what's the more intriguing matchup?
Well, I am a little intrigued by the Giants because of their brand new head coach. We've never seen him coach on any level before, so we're curious to see exactly how that will play out. But the more intriguing matchup to me is Jets-Bills, mostly because the AFC East, for the first time in seemingly forever, is wide open now that Tom Brady is gone. A lot of people think the Bills are the team to beat. The Jets know that, and they know that they can make a very big statement by stealing this game. They don't see themselves as being that far behind the Buffalo Bills. They think they've improved greatly from last year when, as they keep reminding us, they finished 6-2 and they have some momentum. So if they can go up to Buffalo and take that game, they're going to start saying, hey, look at us. We could be a contender in this division.
Everything that Ralph just said is exactly why the Jets-Bills game is much more intriguing. I mean, the AFC East, like he said, when was the last time Tom Brady wasn't in the AFC East and dominating it? And then you got these two young quarterbacks, and Josh Allen and Sam Darnold, going up against each other. Everybody's going to compare each other. And then let's not forget what happened last year at week one. Sam Darnold and the Jets are dominating this Bills team. Everybody thinks they're going to go and win. This is going to be the tone setter. They end up losing the game. Their quarterback gets mono, and there goes the season. So I think the Jets have a lot to prove. Go into Buffalo. Let's start this season off right. And Buffalo, that was the team that everybody's saying they could be the shocker. They could surprise a lot of people, and they could win a lot of games.
Very fashionable pick this offseason. I think we can all agree we're just happy that the regular season is here. It will be being played, at least at the outset. We're hoping for all good things involving the team in the league. And so we'll see how it all plays out. First starting Thursday with the NFL schedule, then Sunday, of course, the Giants on Monday. All right, that'll do it for us for now. For Jeane Coakley and Ralph Vacchiano, I'm Jonas Schwartz. Thanks for watching Football Night in New York.